Crkd Nitro Deck is a new Nintendo Switch accessory that brings a slew of useful, meaningful upgrades to the handheld console. It's a grip attachment, but rather than attaching two individual controllers to the sides of the console, you slide the entire Switch screen into a single housing unit. The result is a Steam Deck-like handheld that brings a full suite of upgrades to your Switch, including Pro-style back buttons, Hall effect thumbsticks to eliminate stick drift, vibration, and a low latency connection thanks to a direct USB-C connection. Out of the box, setting the Switch up with the Nitro Deck is a breeze. The only thing you'll need to do is enable Pro Controller wired communication in the Settings app, which allows the deck to communicate with the Switch through the USB-C port at the bottom. Then simply pop off your Joy-Con controllers, insert the Switch into the Nitro Deck, and you're ready to rock. The Nitro Deck, which costs $60 for the standard edition or $90 for the limited edition that features exclusive color options and comes with a hardshell case, is compatible with both the standard Nintendo Switch and Switch OLED models of the console. The Switch screen glides easily into the housing via embedded rails on each side of the unit and connects directly via the USB-C port on the bottom of the console. This allows for virtually no latency when compared to the standard Joy-Con controllers and other Bluetooth controller options. Once inserted, it is locked securely in place and can only be released by simultaneously pressing a button on the back of the unit and pulling the Nintendo Switch upward. Arguably, the best feature on the Nitro Deck is the inclusion of Hall effect thumbsticks. Obviously, while this technology isn't new by any means, it's less commonly featured in controllers than traditional analog joysticks. The main benefit of Hall effect sensors is the elimination of stick drift as they transmit inputs via electromagnetic signals as opposed to having two parts touch and eventually, wear down over time, leading to the all too common stick drift that plagues so many Nintendo Switch users. The default thumbsticks also offer much more surface area than the standard Joy-Con controllers and feature a concave design with a textured grip around the edges to keep your thumbs in place. Thumbs up for that one. Additionally, the thumbsticks on the Nitro Deck have easily replaceable toppers to ensure that your sticks are always fresh and ready to go, or customized to show your own unique flair. Woo! While the Nitro Deck is very comfortable to hold with its ergonomic textured grips and contoured shape, it adds a significant amount of heft to the overall unit. Thankfully, the weight is distributed well enough that it doesn't feel unbalanced to hold for long periods of time. All these standard Nintendo Switch controls are accounted for on the Nitro Deck, plus a few additions. On the left side of the deck is the left thumbstick, D-pad, minus button, and a capture button for screenshots. Over on the right side are the standard face buttons, plus button, right thumbstick, and the cracked button that doubles as the home button for the Nintendo Switch. The face buttons have a nice clicky feel to them, with a little bit more travel than what you'd find on regular Joy-Con controllers. The D-pad is also surprisingly good with just the right amount of tension that will certainly please fans of 2D games, as well as traditional fighting games. There are also two small cutouts to accommodate the Switch's internal speakers, as well as built-in vibration for supported games. The top of the Nitro Deck features 4 standard shoulder buttons, L1, L2, R1. Not only are all 4 much longer than the standard Joy-Con shoulder buttons, but they all have a nice indent to rest your fingers comfortably. Thanks. L1 and R1 have a soft matte finish, while the rear shoulder buttons have a glossy texture and a bit more travel than their standard Joy-Con counterparts. There's also a cutout in the center that allows you to easily access your Switch's built-in controls, such as the power button, volume, headphone jack, and game card slot. On the rear of the Nitro Deck is another killer feature: 4 programmable back buttons that can take the form of any other button you please. Even more, and something we haven't seen in any comparable Pro-style controllers, is the ability to map multiple inputs to a single back button. While it unfortunately can't take into account the timing of each individual input, it does allow you to create keybinds for very unique situations, such as jumping in the air and air dodging without having to press 2 buttons. If you're not a fan of back buttons, you also have the ability to disable them completely. The back of the deck also features a built-in kickstand, like the standard Switch, albeit much sturdier. It extends to just under 90 degrees, allowing you to get the perfect angle while playing in tabletop mode or just to display your deck while charging. On each side of the kickstand, you'll find a USB-C input and USB-C output port, respectively. The input is for charging your Nintendo Switch while it's inserted into the Nitro Deck, while the output allows you to connect your Switch dock's USB port to play on the big screen. You could also connect the Nitro Deck to a PC to use as a controller there. Lastly, you'll find a program button below the back buttons, as well as the switch release toggle to remove the console from the Nitro Deck. As previously mentioned, the cracked button not only takes you back to your Switch's home screen, but also conveys useful information in the form of different LED colors. For example, it changes to purple when programming the back buttons, orange when in wired mode, and green when putting the deck into turbo mode, which allows you to bind a specific button to be automatically pressed at various intervals with adjustable speeds. The LED light itself can also be dimmed or turned off completely, nice touch, which is nice, as it's very bright by default. During our testing, we found the Nitro Deck very comfortable to hold for long periods of time. While the weight is definitely noticeable, it's very well balanced and works for hands of all sizes. The back buttons are conveniently located on both grips too, allowing you to easily reach and press them without straining your fingers. The right thumbstick is set a bit lower than the standard Joy-Con controller. For games that utilize the thumbstick for camera controls, it can feel a bit cumbersome for your thumb to travel a bit further between the thumbstick and face buttons so often. But the other small irk Matt had with the Nitro Deck is the process of actually removing the Switch console. Ideally, you'd leave the Switch in the deck for the majority of your playtime, but if you do want to transfer it to the big screen, you'll need to remove the Switch itself, which requires pushing the release button with one hand and somewhat forcefully removing the Switch by pulling it upwards from the screen. Since there's no real place to grab the Switch itself other than the screen, this requires applying some pressure to the display to dislodge it from the Nitro Deck, which not only results in some pretty unsightly fingerprints, but also scared the reviewer a bit when pressing so firmly on the sensitive OLED display. For many, simply having a solution to the Nintendo Switch's infamous stick drift is enough to warrant an upgrade to the Nitro Deck, especially when factoring in that the entire unit itself costs less than a pair of new Joy-Con controllers. However, the upside gained with a more durable shell, customizable back buttons, better ergonomics for handheld play, and a sturdier kickstand makes the Nitro Deck an easy recommendation for hardcore and casual gamers alike. The added heft and weight certainly takes some getting used to compared to the stock Nintendo Switch, but the upgraded experience it provides in nearly every way, well worth your time. For more handheld goodness, make sure to check out our review of the Asus ROG Ally. I don't know if that's actually how you say it. And for everything else, keep it right here on IG.